And it seems like Paige is already being treated like an MVP. Paige Bueckers is officially your 2025 first overall pick in the WNBA draft, and she just won an NCAA championship with UConn. The WNBA couldn't have asked for a better storyline going into this season, but naturally, the media couldn't help but plunge headfirst into complete delusion. They're doing everything in their power to convince fans that Paige is going to be the next Caitlyn Clark, or at the very least put her on par with her. It's crazy, but I have a quick message for anyone out there who believes that Paige will soon become Caitlyn Clark too. It's time to dig deep, expose the truth, and put this narrative to rest once and for all. If you were hoping that Paige Bueckers would jump in and immediately replicate Caitlyn Clark's impact, you're going to be very disappointed, because WNBA general managers are already discussing what's actually going to happen behind closed doors, burying the truth clearly. And let me tell you, it's not the fantasy the media is selling. And guess what? I have the receipts to prove it. Something truly unique to the table, someone who could attract even more fans than Paige ever could. But first, hit that like button if you're sick of the media playing these games. The Dallas Wings selected Paige Bueckers, a University of Connecticut student, with the first overall pick in the 2025 WNBA draft. Naturally, with the league eager to expand and make it about more than one player, people are pushing the idea that Bueckers is going to become the next Caitlyn Clark, or at least that she should be. But the hype train didn't start rolling today. It's been building since March Madness. Dropped that amazing 40-point performance in the Sweet 16. The comparisons to Caitlyn Clark have been coming in fast and furious. Now, if you want to say, oh, she had 40 points, yeah, Caitlyn's done it like 3 times. It's pretty easy to shut these comparisons down, as Mick did perfectly right here. By the way, in 2 of those 3 games, Caitlyn also had double-digit assists. By the way, all of the wins were in the Elite 8 or Final 4 games when Paige Bueckers was in a Sweet 16 game. But again, there's this strange inverse relationship that the media constantly tries to impose between the 2 players. This was evident in a recent Guardian article that argued that Paige isn't receiving the same treatment as Caitlyn Clark because they are 2 very different types of players, which I'll discuss in a moment, but rather because Paige is more outspoken about social activism, something that Caitlyn's fans allegedly don't value. Next, Nancy Armour from USA Today described Paige Bueckers as a transformative player who is similar to Caitlyn and advised Caitlyn's fans not to elevate Caitlyn by discrediting others, insisting that credit must always be given to Paige. But it's extremely ironic because those same media voices are the ones who constantly attempt to minimize Caitlyn in order to elevate other players. As I've discussed in previous videos, the numerous instances in which Caitlyn supporters were unfairly criticized, as well as the persistent and blatantly untrue suggestion that Caitlyn only receives preferential treatment because of her race, are offensive and completely untrue. Then there are instances like ESPN casually comparing Paige's draft viewership numbers to the 2023 draft, completely ignoring 2024, the most watched WNBA draft ever, with an average of 1, with a peak of 1. There were 25 million viewers. 46 million viewers, up 119% compared to 2023. And I know what the question might be, 2023, 2020. Well, Ben, just out of curiosity, because we're all curious and want to know what it's like in comparison to the 2024 dread, thank you for asking, and here we are. It's down 49%. Why in the world would ESPN conveniently omit the record-breaking 2024 numbers because they want Paige Bueckers to look as transformative as Caitlyn? And you can't create that illusion if you compare her directly to Caitlyn's historically unprecedented impact. League insiders know exactly what's happening behind closed doors. What Caitlyn did last year was so special and unique. Paz a special player. I think she'll be a good player this year, but I'm not expecting a Caitlyn-like impact. And it's an unfair bar to set. Yes, Paige Bueckers is incredibly talented, no doubt, but she's not even close to Caitlyn Clark. According to a recent report that featured candid behind-the-scenes conversations with WNBA general managers, the message was clear. They respect her, acknowledge her talent, but they know she's nowhere near Caitlyn Clark's level. No matter how hard some in the media or league might try to position Paige Bueckers as the next Caitlyn, it's just not happening. Paige is incredibly talented, but she's not Caitlyn Clark. And here's the thing, the numbers are already in and they leave no doubt. With such star power on those teams, it's really no surprise they're top of the league. This shouldn't even be controversial because anyone with eyes and, to be honest, a functioning brain can see that Caitlyn Clark is operating on a completely different level. List of the most games you can watch on a national level. The Fever lead the league with 41 games, followed by the Aces with 33, the champion Liberty with 32. And this season, Caitlyn Clark and her Indiana Fever are literally taking over your screens. They are featured in an incredible 41 out of 44 games on national TV or major streaming platforms, including ABC, CBS. Turn on your TV at any time, and you're likely to see Caitlyn Clark emerge from raucous, sold-out crowds. To put this into perspective, the next closest team in terms of national exposure is the Las Vegas Aces with 33 games, followed by the New York Liberty, the reigning champions, loaded. With only 32 players of MVP caliber, these are elite teams with a wealth of star players and championship pedigree. But despite all of that talent, networks made a well-considered choice in selecting Caitlyn Clark. To make matters worse, the Indiana Fever sold out a 15,000-seat arena for a preseason exhibition game against the Brazilian national team. Yes, you read correctly. This game sold out more quickly than many NBA playoff matchups, and the excitement didn't stop there. ESPN decided to broadcast the game nationally, making it one of the first WNBA preseason games to be televised nationally. No further evidence is required. Take into consideration that several teams, including well-known teams like the Atlanta Dream, Chicago Sky, and Washington Mystics, literally relocated their frantic home games into enormous NBA arenas in order to satisfy ticket demand. One player, Caitlyn Clark, created such a huge demand for tickets that entire organizations had to reorganize their venue logistics in order to capitalize on her star power. But wait, it gets even more evident when you compare Caitlyn's influence with Paige Bueckers. Let's examine that comparison now and demonstrate why, despite the media's frantic attempts to paint Paige as the next Caitlyn, there is currently no comparison, and there is statistical proof, actual analytics, that she is not making any significant impact on women's basketball or women's sports. In fact, after Caitlyn Clark left college, the NCAA women's tournament viewership fell by over 10 million viewers. Not a slight decline, but a complete collapse. The 2024 championship game without Caitlyn brought in just 5 million viewers the year before when she was playing. The championship averaged over 18. 9 million people watched. As I mentioned earlier, Paige Bueckers signed a 3-year contract with Unrivaled, and some media figures immediately hailed it as groundbreaking for the league, suggesting it would drastically boost women's basketball viewership. However, let's be honest, Unrivaled didn't exactly set the world on fire. Rose defined as a person unrivaled the player-led offseason league, led by Nafisa Collet and Breanna Stewart, invested. This comparison couldn't be clearer or more equitable. It was literally the same event against the same team in the same scenario without Caitlyn, and it wasn't even close. Despite paying players close to $9 million 0 cents, they were only able to sign 11 players during their first season. As we've already seen with Paige Bueckers and the NCAA March Madness viewership, it's difficult to imagine she could command anything close to the attention Caitlyn has consistently drawn. The numbers are already speaking loud and clear, and I have to pause right here and make something very clear while comparing that to the 9 million total viewers across all games and the 12 million views that Caitlyn Clark's recent teaser clip from her collaboration with Dude Perfect has received. It's official, Paige Bueckers will not be Caitlyn Clark. That's fine, or at least it should be. To begin, she is not nearly the player that Caitlyn Clark is. Paige had a great college career and is unquestionably a fantastic player, but she was never Caitlyn Clark in the first place. And that's completely fine. Stats can lie, or at least they don't always tell the whole story. In fact, Paige Bueckers was an amazing college player. In fact, incredible as a freshman at UConn. She won almost every award imaginable, including Namath Player of the Year. Paige Bueckers was named to the first team of the United States and led her team in points, assists, and steals. She was also a clutch player under pressure, had a silky smooth jumper, and had exceptional court vision. Her accomplishments and talent are undeniably genuine, but the problem is that sometimes two players are equally great, but one of them just has that extra something special, that elusive star quality that transcends statistics and wins. It's the kind of intangible magnetism that fills arenas and makes even those who've never seen a game tune in. Although Caitlyn is a fantastic basketball player, she lacks the highlight reel explosiveness that Caitlyn has brought to the game. Other than their position, there are hardly any similarities between her and Bueckers' styles of play. Caitlyn Clark plays with flair, and the moment she crosses half court, you're on the edge of your seat because you know that anything can happen. She could casually pull up from the logo and drain a three from another zip code, or she could thread an impossible no-look pass right through three defenders, surprising even her teammates. Though extremely effective and smooth, her style is a little more conventional. She is the epitome of efficiency, a precise mid-range assassin, a polished and intelligent playmaker, and her game is about delicate fundamentals and consistent execution, but she isn't routinely bombing from 30 feet or dropping routine 40-point explosions. Caitlyn is a must-see on television. Sometimes basketball isn't just about who averaged what stats or who won which award. Sometimes it's about the story being told on the court, the swagger, the drama of each moment. As she broke records and led the country in scoring for three-pointers made while playing with the kind of obvious swagger and passion that immediately grabs your attention. She plays like she's putting on a show, pumping her fist after big shots, chirping confidently at opponents and energizing crowds. After all, the WNBA and all sports leagues for that matter aren't in the business of making sure every talented player receives equal fan support, okay? It's in the business of entertainment. Sports are entertainment, whether purists like it or not, and Caitlyn Clark is pure entertainment. This is the huge mistake all of these critics, haters, and overthinkers when they attempt to reduce Caitlyn's popularity to identity politics are utterly disregarding one basic fact. Fans gravitate toward what excites them and what is truly enjoyable. The NBA realized this long ago, and it wasn't because it ensured that every effective, fundamentally sound player received equal attention that the league took off, but rather because of the electrifying stars like Michael Jordan, who made you stop everything you were doing to watch him play. Jordan was must-see TV purely because he accomplished feats no one else could with an unrivaled flair, charisma, and competitive fire. Did fans complain that he was taking too much attention while other worthy players labored in relative obscurity? Not because watching Jordan was just exciting, but the same was true of Kobe, LeBron, and Steph Curry. Regardless of their background or identity, they were all magnetic and had that special something that draws viewers in. Caitlyn brought exactly that kind of electricity to the women's game. Her impact goes far beyond simply being effective or fundamentally sound. She delivers entertainment, excitement, and spectacle in a way that few, if any, have ever matched in women's basketball. And guess what? More players like Caitlyn will eventually emerge, bringing their own distinct styles and excitement to the sport. In fact, if you want my honest assessment, it's not even Paige Bueckers who has the best chance at enthralling crowds. Afterward, the Seattle Storm selected Dominique Malunga from France as their second overall pick in the 2025 WNBA draft. Dominique Malunga is 6'6" and can dunk with ease. We're not talking about barely getting over the rim dunk. She throws it down consistently and with authority. And some scouts and fans are already referring to her as the WNBA's Wemmy. a reference to NBA sensation Victor Wembanyama. Imagine something we've never seen in women's basketball before. A flawlessly executed alley-oop or a thunderous rim-rattling dunk in traffic that brings the entire arena to its feet. Malunga has the physical tools to make that happen night after night, altering the perception of what's possible in women's basketball. Now picture this with Caitlyn Clark, the elite playmaker with pinpoint vision, launching highlight reel passes and deep threes from anywhere on the court. No, they won't be on the same team, but they will have a strong, athletic forward center that can dominate opponents. It's about bringing genuine entertainment to women's basketball, and I sincerely hope that happens because at the end of the day, fans tune in to be entertained. They don't care about identity or background. They care about talent. They crave electrifying play, jaw-dropping athleticism, and highlighting real dominance, and that's what attracts new viewers to the sport and keeps them coming back for more basic basketball. Competence may win you championships, but it's spectacle, excitement, and star power that make people want to watch every single night as Clark bounces off of Bueckers out of bounds with only a single second left. It's a great play, and there isn't much time left, so yes, Paige Bueckers, as much as the media, the league, and everyone else might hope otherwise, just won't be Caitlyn Clark. The WNBA's general managers, insiders, and anyone who really knows basketball know this, but the important thing is that Paige will still be fantastic for the league because she is an amazing player with a stellar resume. The WNBA should definitely hype her up and create excitement around her arrival in college women's basketball. Anything that attracts college fans to the WNBA is beneficial. The WNBA needs all of it, but let's be clear, until another player emerges who truly dazzles fans with electrifying talent and a magnetic style, as basketball is currently much more popular than the professional game, converting those ardent fans from college to the WNBA is crucial. Paige Bueckers will undoubtedly aid in that process. She is a true star in her own right. Additionally, the league should focus on the Angel Reese and Hailey Van Lith reunion storyline, especially since it was hilarious to watch HVL grit her teeth through interview questions about working with Ree. This upcoming season will only serve to further solidify the fact that Caitlyn Clark is on a completely different level. She's not just another star player. She's like Neo, the one who's the face of the league, the one who truly captivates crowds. People will stop at nothing to close the enormous popularity gap between Caitlyn Clark and everyone else. Unfortunately, some of these attempts to elevate other players end up taking cheap shots at Caitlyn or her fervent fan base, the very fans who are driving the league's growth in previously unheard of efficiency. Moving the needle, the player is capturing people's attention and making women's basketball worth watching. The critics, doubters, and haters would be wise to realize this and just let Caitlyn's popularity shine on the league as a whole, taking advantage of the opportunities she creates rather than fighting against it. If you're still reading this, please leave a basketball emoji in the comments section. Thank you for viewing.